Hello, I'm Mario, and today's video is a channel update video. I want to provide some feedback on some of the modifications that I've done to the Chevy Colorado, and also some of the work that I've done on my GeoPro travel trailer. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to cut away to another clip and provide some insight as to what projects I have planned to do in the future. So those are going to be the upcoming videos. And so yes, I have had plumbing issues with the GeoPro travel trailer, and I made several videos about issues that I had with leaks at the sink and leaks at the water pump and in the bathtub. And so I have been able to fix all of those leaks. I don't have any leaks right now. Things are working very well on the plumbing front with the GeoPro. The fittings that I used, the aftermarket fittings that I used, they have been performing well. So I'm very happy with that thus far. And then the saving grace here is that the factory fittings that are still working, fortunately they are working, because I know some of those there would be an issue for me to find replacements for that would actually work. So I am still trying to find maybe a better solution out there, and so I'm just keeping my ear to the ground, and hopefully I can find a better solution. Or if you guys know of something, put it in the comments. So the GeoPro travel trailer has been working well for me, and that's the other point that I wanted to make here, is that in spite of all of the issues that I had around the plumbing, I know that's been a majority of the videos that I've put out, I really like my travel trailer. So I'm happy that I have this travel trailer. I'm glad that I chose this one. I really like it, and I do have other modifications planned. I'm trying to prioritize different things. And so, like I mentioned, towards the end of the video, you'll see what's on the books next to take care of on my next top priority projects. Down the list, yeah, there's some other things that I'd like to change out a little bit, but basic story here is I'm happy with the travel trailer. I'm using it. I'm enjoying it. It's working well. I'm happy with it. Very happy with it. Then the other updates that I want to make sure that I'm providing have to do with the pickup truck, because I have made a lot of suspension changes on the truck. And so the suspension, I like it. It's working well for me, for my purposes. But I have noticed in the comments that some people might be, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that any change that you make, it might benefit you in one way, but then it might be a detraction on another front. So for instance, if all you want to do is drive back and forth to the store and pick up groceries, then you might want a different type of suspension than if you were hitting 4x4 trails and climbing over rocks, and yet another different type of suspension if you're going to be towing and hauling a lot of cargo. So you really need to pick and choose what your preference is going to be. In other words, I don't know of a suspension modification or a suspension package that's going to do everything very well. At least not for the Colorado. I know there's some examples out there for other products. I'm sure there's some Jeep people out there. Just go buy a Jeep. But even with Jeeps, you're going to have, there's going to be pros and cons for every setup. And having said that, I'm very happy with what I have right now. Now I might in the future, but I don't feel the need to make any further adjustments to the suspension today. It's working really well for what I need to do, and that is pulling the travel trailer, hauling cargo, going camping. I haven't done a lot of off-roading, and I have noticed that there are some limitations on that front, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So so I might need to do a little bit more like forest roads and that sort of thing before I really fully understand what I want, but the short story is the leaf springs that I added in the back and the easy lift suspension upgrade that I did in the front, which includes the control arms. I am very happy with that. It's suiting me very well, and yeah, I don't know what I could have done better for my needs on that front. It handles very well. Now I'm totally dedicated to either pulling this travel trailer or having hundreds of pounds, at least hundreds of pounds, in the bed of the truck. So that, I just want to make sure that everybody keeps that in mind there. And so that's it on the, on the updates. I just want to recap. I really like the Geo Pro travel trailer. I don't have anything against the brand. I don't have anything against the manufacturer. The pickup truck, it's towing well. I have the weight distribution hitch there, that the Husky weight distribution with the round bars, those round spring bars. It's an old school style. That's working well. I've made some adjustments as noted in one of my videos, and so it's been working. So I don't have any plans to change that out anytime soon either. And so as far as the modifications, that's about it. The other thing I want to do, so I'm going to cut away to another video here in a bit, and that's going to show everybody what's coming up next, what's on deck. Before I do, I want to talk about the channel in general, just a couple minutes here. And I don't know exactly what the channel is about. And so I've mentioned before that I have this objective, this tall order of being able to camp and travel, and I think I'm really getting closer to the point where I can do that and do it comfortably. And I want the channel to be not just about the mechanics of doing the modifications, not just, well, how did Mario work on it, but the fact that Mario worked on trying to achieve a goal. So what I'm getting at here is that I want people to maybe take away a message that achieving goals is not always easy, and that with persistence, perhaps you can make it happen. And so maybe there's a way to have discussions about, well, about how you achieve your goals, or how you approach an obstacle, or how you overcome a hurdle. And so I think that's kind of what I'm also trying to do here with the channel. I want to share my experiences, but maybe also share the struggle of the experience. So I got some goals in mind. I want to go camping, I want to travel, and I want to take you guys along for the ride. But hopefully there's a moral to the story also. So I think enough said on that. I don't want to drag that on too much. And then so with that, let's cut away to this clip here, and let's see what's coming up in the future. Now, I don't really know what the ultimate goal for this project is. It started off where, well, put it this way, I have an electric bicycle, and I want to be able to charge my electric bicycle when I'm out camping. Seems simple enough. When I'm out camping, I don't necessarily have access to an electrical outlet. And then so that's where I decided I'm probably going to need some lithium batteries. And I'm probably going to need some sort of power inverter. And I'm probably going to need some sort of DC to DC charge controller. So that's where it all started. I went down a rabbit hole. And like I was saying earlier, I don't know what the ultimate goal here is. I'm trying to get out of the sun. And so like I was saying, I don't know what the ultimate goal here is, because it seems to be evolving. Now I have a travel trailer, and so essentially I think there's a lot that I can expand upon here. I want to outfit my pickup truck with a secondary battery bank, auxiliary battery. That's no new thing, but I want it to be lithium, and I want it to be I want it to have more than one capability. And so that's where I have this refrigerator, right? Got to have a 12-volt DC refrigerator. So there's a couple items I went on the cheap. I chose to go on the cheap with the inverter. It's not a pure sine wave inverter, but it's 2000 watts modified. So modified sine wave. So it's from Harbor Freight. It's cheap. It got me in the door. I think it's going to function at least until I start figuring out what the bigger picture is. You know, what are my ultimate goals. I did go with the 50 amp Renogy DC to DC charge controller, and this thing here is complete with an MPPT controller. This can charge a battery bank, can charge one battery bank from two sources. It can take one source from a solar array and the other source from a generator, an alternator. So 50 amps, 25 dedicated to the alternator, 25 amps dedicated to the solar array. So where I'm going to start with right now is with these three main items here, these three components, and then I'll introduce a solar array later. So like I said, this is going to be several phases, but this is where I'm starting at. One other things with this charge control, let me get the model number there. Like I said, it's the 50 amp version. There's also a 30 amp version. One more item on this. There were some complaints from consumers about this because it wasn't giving 50 amps from the alternator. So from the truck or car's alternator, it was capping it at 25. And so you could be driving in a snowstorm, nothing's coming off the solar array, but only 25 is coming from the alternator. So that was one complaint. And I think there might be a way around that, in that if you disconnect, if there's an open circuit on the solar array side, I think that allows this computer to then pull more from the alternator. But don't quote me on that. It's just something that I kind of read about, and I'm gonna try to put that to the test. So there's a lot going on here. And so let me dive into some other, where I'm at and what the next steps are, what the different components are. So like I mentioned, I'm in the Colorado. Another thing that I want to do is I want a refrigerator. This is something that I learned. So I don't know what else we're gonna add to the mix, but I got this. So this is one of these cheaper items here. It has the cover, and it's a 12 volt, and you know, I don't know. You guys know what these are about. So I don't know if you noticed this or not, but there's something missing here. There's no passenger seat. So I took that out too. All right, I'm gonna pull some of this stuff out and then kind of show you what I have so far in my inventory, and then we'll go to the next phase, because I have to have some sort of platform to secure this stuff to. And so that's the first step here. All right, so I guess the elephant in the room really is the seat removal. And this is what we have left over here. Is we have, these are the anchor points for the seat. Over on the other side here, there's the anchor points. So essentially what's going on here is the front of the seat slides into these grooves, and then it's fastened in the back using and as best I can tell, it's an M10 with a 1.5 pitch. So that's let's see, I got the anyway, this is the bolt here. I don't know if you can see that or not. So comes with a Torx head, and so these bolts here, there's two of them. They bolt the seat down in the back, and then there was another fastener that I removed, which I intend to use. That's this thing here. So what I'm getting at here is I intend to reuse those three threaded anchor points, and then also this slotted area here to support the platform. And then also, yeah, you might be wondering what this is here. It's just a bag of goodies that are associated with the truck's SRS system. So yeah, when I removed the seat, I went ahead and I just left that stuff there. All right. What I intend to use is something like this, basically just a hex bolt, and I'm just going to place it into these 3 points. So as I mentioned, it's a 10 millimeter bolt with a 1.5 thread pitch. So I don't think I'm going to use necessarily this exact one. It's just something that I purchased to make sure that I was getting the correct size bolt. But the idea is that I'm going to use some sort of shelf here, and in order to do that I'm going to need some sort of product, and that's what this thing here is. So what's the purpose of this, you ask? And then the bolt to go like this. One curious thing is that these mounting points, they're not necessarily level. Now obviously this one here, yeah, that one's elevated relative to these three, but these three relative to each other, they're not perfectly level. So hopefully it won't be too big of a deal. That's why I'm leaving these cleats for last. So I'm gonna go ahead and so the next phase is I'm gonna find a place. I'm gonna do some layouts to see how I want stuff kind of set up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drill. I'm gonna drill 3 holes. I'm gonna drill for the 2 standoffs, and I'm gonna drill for this one back here. And then once I have that secured here to the vehicle itself, then I'll worry about putting some cleats in the front to help support the front half of this shelf here. So the idea is to have this standoff here support and keep this kind of level, and then I'll have to add some cleats in here, in this area here where those channels are, and then the bolt will just go in here, and then I'll have another bolt back here, and hopefully that'll provide enough of a platform for what I need in this area here. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed watching that clip, and I hope it sparks some of your imagination as to what it is that I'm really trying to accomplish here when I say I have goals to go camping and goals to travel. So that should play a big part in achieving these goals, and I'm really excited about implementing those tools. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty exciting. So at any rate, tune into the next video because that's what's coming. I really appreciate you guys checking out my channel, watching these videos. It really means a lot to me that I'm able to share it with everybody. And hopefully I have a lot of success stories to share, but I will also share the downfalls too, because hopefully there won't be a lot of them, but I'm not scared to share them with you guys. Thanks for watching. Tune into the next video. Take care.